At the end of July in 2024, BC experienced a substantial landslide on the Chilcotin River. The slide came down and blocked the entire river, drying up the lower half of the river and creating a dam and a reservoir lake on the backside that was filling up with water. Our immediate concern as the lead under the new Emergency Disaster Management Act was public safety risk downstream, but also the impact to the aquatic ecosystem.
My concern was for the salmon. First Nations have always relied on those fish for social cultural values and food security.
Once we understood the magnitude of the landslide, we enacted the disaster recovery framework. So under that framework, we stood up the environment recovery sector, which was led by our colleagues at the Ministry of Environment and Parks. The position of the framework is that we all need to get together as a provincial government and figure out how to best leverage each other's resources and expertise.
First step was to make sure that people were out of harm's way. And so working closely with the Ministry of Emergency Management, Climate Readiness, but also with the Ministry of Forests.
We were kind of monitoring this area, listening to see if there was any big bangs, anything of concern that would indicate that perhaps this was going and that the water was going to release.
We had consultants reaching out. Everyone wanted to see it firsthand. We learned that we really needed to get information out to the public.
Here, just want to give you a status update on the
Through
slide.
that, we worked closely with GeoBC to get a website and a portal developed where we made that commitment that any photos that were taken on a day-to-day basis were being uploaded so that the visuals could be seen firsthand. It decreased the anxiety within the communities because they were able to watch it, they were able to understand what was going on.
There was a lot of concern that the dam that was formed by the landslide was going to have a catastrophic release. There was a significant amount of natural debris that would have gone downstream and potentially impacted communities. Fortunately, that didn't happen, but what did happen was there was flooding. And of course, after that flooding event, recovery begins.
Ultimately, there was no real impact to life. There was substantial erosion that occurred on the Chilcotin River, and there are areas that are still at risk within that vicinity. But the recovery for the fish was a real critical piece.
Using provisions around urgent recovery measures for health, safety, and well-being, we were able to identify Indigenous food security through providing salmon to impacted nations, as well as some funding provided for archaeological measures.
It allowed those nations that were unable to access their traditional fishing areas to reach out and procure fish for their food sources.
A lot of the work that you saw with the Chilcotin landslide response was based on good relationships that have been forged through really difficult situations and just having that faith and confidence in each other to move the dial and be there for communities.